Do you know what time it is? It's time to review. Anime review Violet Evergarden. Go. Violet Evergarden is a Netflix original anime based off the 2014 manga. It's about a girl named Violet Evergarden. Who could have fucking guessed? Violet was a human military weapon raised to infiltrate and kill, and so she had very little understanding of feelings. But now an ex-military, she works as a letter writer. People during the time period this show takes place in couldn't write so good, Mr. Stark. For a postal service on her quest to understand the meaning of the phrase, I love you. I know it sounds gay, but it's actually really good. For starters, the artwork and animation is fucking sexy. The art style isn't particularly unique per se, but it's just so well done. And the animation is, put simply, flawless. Even though there's a tiny bit of CGI, it's so well integrated, it's almost unnoticeable. Sadly to say, this is one of the rare cases with Netflix originals. Netflix usually kills this category by fucking the production company so hard in the ass with budget, forcing the artist to make drawings with little detail, and pushing the heavy use of CGI. Really shitty CGI. This show most likely got its functional budget due to the popularity and praise of the manga, but I'm not complaining. But I will complain just a little bit about the dialogue. I mean, it's fine, but it could have been better. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but it's just a little cliche and overdramatic sometimes, and almost all of the jokes are Violet interpreting what a character said too literally. I wouldn't think about it too much going in. This show isn't a comedy, nor does it try to be, but it is something I noticed that could be improved upon. And let me assure you, the dialogue does not take away from the drama of the story, at all. This show had me crying emoji 5 different times, in 5 different episodes. Episode 10 had me fucking weeping, bro. And this is no easy feat. I'm very picky with scenes that will have my eyes watering, and this show does it 5 fucking times. The stories within the individual episodes are all fucking amazing. Some are more amazing than others. Episode 10. But all are still amazing regardless. And the peak of the drama, not in episode 10 by the way, is fucking tense, man. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but shit gets fucking nuts, bro. Fucking nuts.
Insane.
Moving on to the pacing of this show, I'm gonna have to break this category into 2 parts. The pacing of the plot as a whole, and the pacing of the subplots within the different episodes. The pacing of the plot as a whole is good, I guess. Some of the time intervals between the episodes are a bit too large and feel a little too fast. No homo. Unless you're Luke Johnson, in which case,
fuck me epic style.
it's not confusing, you just feel like you're missing out on other little adventures. Which is actually the case. I looked at the manga and it seems the show just took some of the more dramatic subplots. It's not a big deal, but I thought you should know. Other than that, it's good pacing. Better than average, but nothing special. The pacing of the subplots, on the other hand, is fucking incredible. Pick any of the subplots and the pacing is flawless. It's part of the reason why some of the episodes left me with tears in my eyes. The building of characters, the progression of the story, and the timing of the resolution are all impeccable. And out of those 3 things, I would especially like to highlight the character building. In only one episode, I found myself getting really attached to these new characters because of the way this show times its character building. It always leaves you wanting to know more about the character until you get to the climax. That's when the story takes over and carries you to a perfectly timed resolution. And then bam, the episode's fucking done. And you didn't even realize because you weren't even remotely paying attention to how long you were watching. In other words, the pacing is really fucking good. Next, I would like to briefly discuss the soundtrack of this show. It's mostly beautiful, except for the outro track, which is alright. I said it was brief. What'd you expect? Fucking bitch. I also want to quickly commend this show for its lack of perverted tendencies. In this day and age, it's rare to find an anime without the immense sexualization of female characters, and so I want to tip my fedora to Violet Evergarden for not doing that. The only remnants of a sexualized female character is one of the letter writers, Ketleia? I think that's how it's pronounced. Either that or Catalya, so. She has big tits and slutty clothing, But this is the only example, and she doesn't act like a hoe, so it doesn't matter. These kinds of people do exist, so having one doesn't actually mean anything. And lastly, I'd like to talk about the 30-minute special Netflix release for this show. I'm not going to consider it when doing my review because it's its own separate thing with very little connection to the plot, if any, but I thought I should talk about it because it's still canon Violet Evergarden material. Personally, I found this special to be pretty lackluster. I like the plot and the pacing is fine, but the ending is weak. Basically, Violet is supposed to write a song-letter hybrid thing for an opera from the perspective of a wife to her husband fighting in a war, and the director wants it to be a modern love story that people can relate to. And I think that's a great concept, except they played the love letter song thing at the end of the episode, and it's the same as every other letter she wrote. Nothing about it makes it particularly modern or new or fresh. It can really be attributed to any lovers from any time period. It's just a weak ending. It doesn't really compare to any of the regular episodes. In conclusion, Violet Evergarden gets a 9 out of 10. It's a great watch and I highly recommend it to anyone, so just fucking watch it. But do you know what this means? This means there have been 2 9 out of 10s in a row. Will this hot streak keep going? Find out next video where I'll be reviewing Devilman Crybaby with a special guest appearance of a mole rat from Fallout. See you next time.
Caught a DUI coming out the Trey Songz concert. Shit was bonkers. Bronson slammed like Giannis. Mega Wellness had him unconscious. Don't drink gin and tonic, only natural wine to be honest. Your chick plastic like fake rice from China. Staring in the mirror like I hate my vagina. Just did my first scene with De Niro. Just did my first scene with Scorsese.